Parkcast, the UK's original theme park podcast.
Welcome back to Parkcast, Park fans. We're a podcast for theme park fans, and we're here every week talking about all the goings-on in the theme park world. Exciting stuff, new stuff, rumours, stuff that's annoying us, whatever it is that takes our fancy. We are just a bunch of theme park nerds, and we love talking about all things amusements. I'm Bex, this is Kev.
Hi everyone, I'm not annoyed. We're in positive spirits and mood today.
We're feeling good. And we are once again heading over the pond and joined by our friend Mark Rosenzweig.
Also not annoyed because it is happy hour where I am.
Is it?
Yes.
Isn't it like 3 p.m. where you are?
Yeah, but you can't drink all night if you don't start early, so.
Wow. Okay, well, hopefully happy hour hasn't started for you quite yet, because we have got to just get through this podcast, but then you're free to crack on and do whatever. You off to your Skyline chili, as previously discussed on this podcast.
And Cheesecake Factory.
Are you? Mark doesn't go to the Cheesecake Factory, by the way. He doesn't do chains. Right. If you haven't heard part one of this minor series on Parkcast, we are talking about US road trips and potential US road trips that you could do that are totally achievable if you fancy living out your theme park dreams over in America. So we've done part one already. If you haven't heard it, you can go back and listen to that. We're kind of going area by area. So we've done a lot of the East Coast. We've gone up. We've done Cedar Point and that kind of area. So if you're interested in that, you can go back and listen to the last episode. And now we are moving on. We are kind of heading south. We're going to the southeast area of the US. And what Mark is going to do is talk us through some parks that we can basically build into an itinerary that makes sense, that isn't going to kill you. But you can get loads of parks ticked off.
Right. We don't want anyone to die. We don't
want that.
No.
Certainly not. So these are potential itineraries that you can do, and we're going to find out what we could do at each of these parks. So in the southeast, what have we got here? There's some big parks on here: Dollywood, Carowinds.
Yeah, I mean, the southeast for me, like most people that come from Europe or overseas, when they think southeast, they're probably thinking Florida. So they're going to Orlando or Tampa, and that's what every British enthusiast pretty much has been to: Walt Disney World, Universal Orlando, Busch Gardens, Tampa. So this trip is achievable, I would say, in a 7 to 10 day span very easily. And you have two really good large scale hub airports that you can use that most likely have direct service from Heathrow. And those are Atlanta and Charlotte. Either of those you could use doing a round trip, or you could do a one-way car hire and fly into one and home from the other. And so we've got some big scale corporate parks. You've got Six Flags Over Georgia, which is, as the crow flies, not even 10 miles from the Atlanta airport. So it's a very easy first stop if that's where you're flying. This is the second ever Six Flags park to be built, one of only 3 that was built by the original company that built Six Flags parks. And it was themed after the flags that flew over Georgia, because there were different countries that ruled over America in that area of the country. So the original theme was each area was themed after that country that had the flag that flew over Georgia. This park's got a really stacked coaster lineup. For me, headlined by Goliath, which is a B&M, not quite hypercoaster. It's one of those that is right at 200 feet, but not quite. But if you like, as I would call, flow-jector airtime, which is sort of that combination of floater and ejector, this is your ride. For me, I don't really rank coasters, but for a long while, if I had to, this was my number one steel coaster in the world.
Oh,
and
wow.
A lot of people sleep on this ride because they're bigger, longer, faster coasters, as we all know, that get the attention. But Goliath is the real deal. It's re-rideable. It runs a 9-car long train, 36 passengers, and it is just packed with airtime and a great location. This park also is home to a classic Schwarzkopf looping speed racer called the Mindbender, which the park did some refurbishment work to recently to ensure that its future is good for the next several decades. There's a Rocky Mountain construction coaster called Twisted Cyclone, which is a redo of the original Georgia Cyclone. There's a super charming dark ride called Monster Mansion, which is not the kind of ride you would associate normally with a Six Flags park. It has its own original storyline. It's a boat ride. It's got a catchy soundtrack. And it's just you're floating through the South. You're going through the swamp, and you see all the monsters having a party. It's really maybe my
Sounds very
favorite ride in the
Disney.
park. Honestly, it
Sounds
is.
very Disney-esque.
It really is. And for a regional park, it's spectacular. The park's got gorgeous landscaping, great. It's a lot of trees, a lot of shade, which you need in Georgia because it's very hot this time of year, over 30 Celsius every day and very humid. So nearby, there's also a water park that is also run by Six Flags called Whitewater that you can visit while you're in Atlanta. And then nearby is our next park stop, believe it or not, just south of the Atlanta airport is Fun Spot America. So this was an existing family entertainment center that the Airy family from Orlando, that has the two Fun Spot parks there, one in Orlando and one in Kissimmee, they bought this property and installed maybe the most unlikely coaster in recent history of the industry in Airy Force. Airy Force is a ground up RMC iBox coaster that pound for pound may have more ejector airtime than any ride in the world. And if that's what you like, Bex, I know you're talking about riding these fighter jet G-force coasters. This would be one on that list for sure. It's super re-rideable, super intense, and it just does everything. And it really dwarfs the rest of the park, but there are other things to do. There are the typical FEC amenities, go-karts, flat rides, mini golf, that kind of thing. So you can, in theory, combine these two parks in the same day if time called for that. But you can also do a full day at Six Flags and then a half day at Fun Spot. And then you could drive north to our next park, which is Lake Winnie. It's actually Lake Winnepesaukah, but it's up near Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's basically right on the border of Georgia and Tennessee. And this is a 100-year-old old school trolley park that, it drips with charm and history. There's a great mix of flat rides and thrill rides. There's a classic dark ride. The Cannonball, which is a 1960s wooden coaster from Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters. It still runs the original skid brakes, and it has the big hand lever that you see on rides like the Coney Island Cyclone and some others. So it's still run just as it was when it opened in the late 60s. The Water Chute is probably the park's iconic historic ride, which is a predecessor of the log flume. It's one of those old mill chutes. So you your boat leaves the station and takes a meandering, slow course, like a tunnel of love through the dark. And then you emerge back and you take a slow climb up about probably a 10 meter or so high hill. It's not super high. And then you drop down into the lake and then you come around the bend and back. So it's not a super soaking ride, but 100-year-old ride. It just amazing. And it's still a family owned park. So it's really great that they're still there. And this is a park you can block out half a day for, I would say. From here, we move up to the Smoky Mountains. So the Smoky Mountains area, which the attractions area is the towns of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and Gatlinburg, Tennessee. They're right next to one another. And they are, the typical American, I call it tourist trap, but a tourist trap's not a bad thing. I love these kitschy stretches of attractions in Americana. You have all the wax museums. You've got more alpine coasters than anywhere else in the world. I think they're up to 10 alpine coasters between these two of all different types. They just opened a racing one, if you could believe that. So you're actually racing against the other side. They've got the typical ones that take you all the way up the mountain and you have one long gravity run. Then they've got some others that have more storytelling. So there's, one of them has 7 lift hills on it. It's like almost a 12 to 15 minute experience. And you go through all these dark ride elements as you're going through the course. And you could spend a day just doing alpine coasters. It's really that kind of thing. You'll also spend a lot of money, but they are. In Pigeon Forge, the best known attraction, of course, to coaster enthusiasts is Dollywood, which little known fact, I think, to most people that aren't really intimately familiar with the park. This theme park originally started out as the Rebel Railroad, is what it was called. It was a roadside attraction with the steam train that's there now. And then later, the Herschend family bought the property and it became Silver Dollar City, not to be confused with another park we're going to talk about in a little while here, but it was the second Silver Dollar City. Fast forward to 1986, 40 years ago now, and Dolly Parton became partner in the park, and Dollywood, the park was rebranded, and it became the park we know and love today. And there really is Dollywood is a multi-day park. It has a separate water park. It has two gorgeous resort hotels. They also have cabin rentals, so you can get one of those iconic cabins up on the mountain overlooking the valley and down to the park. Just there's not much I can add to it. I think the ride lineup is iconic, whether it's Big Bear Mountain, Lightning Rod, Thunderhead, Tennessee Tornado. Just go down the list. I mean, it's a who's who of famous roller coasters. But it's just the friendliness of the staff, the cleanliness of the park, the efficiency of the operations. The Dollywood Railroad is still there. You could take that 25-minute ride up and down the mountain. Just up, down, all around, entertainment, everything. It's just spectacular and totally deserves 2-day visit to really soak everything in.
So I can imagine with it being near Tennessee, you're going to get a lot of that country-esque kind of music as well. There's a lot of the entertainment based around.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of everything.
Thing?
Right. So like Dolly Parton's into all types of music. So I mean, there's all different types of entertainment, and it changes year to year, which is great. So every year you go, even if there's not a new ride, there's bound to be a new entertainment offering. Yeah, I mean, it's iconic. That's really all we can say. As far as regional parks go, it doesn't get much better than Dollywood. It's right up there with its sister park that, again, we'll talk about in a little while here on a separate trip. But then, so you could easily spend 3 to 4 days in the Pigeon Forge Gatlinburg area if you're interested in doing the standalone attractions, which again range from go-karts, wax museums. There's some standalone dark rides and walkthroughs. Just so many things to do. You can really pick one hotel, use it as your base, and kind of like a mini Orlando in that regard, and just go out and do everything. It's really great. And then from there, we head back east to the city of Charlotte, which sits in North Carolina, but the park we're going to visit is called Carowinds, which is unique because it's the only major theme park to have a state line go right through the middle of the park, which was a very cool idea in 1973 when the park opened, but has proven over time to be a logistical challenge because you have different labor laws, you have different ride inspection code, you have all these different things that the park has had to manage through the years. But nonetheless, it's interesting. I think 3 or 4 of their coasters you board in one state, cross the border, and then come back.
That's crazy.
And the border is very clearly delineated as you come into the park, so you can take that iconic photo like you're on Hoover Dam with 1 foot in one state, one in the other. So it's kind of cool. And,
nice. What's like the standout coaster there, would you say?
It's all day Fury 325. It's ranked the #1 steel coaster in the world, at least in golden tickets. And it is as far as I'm aware, the tallest, longest, and fastest giga coaster still operating, or currently operating, I should say. Tallest coaster with a lift chain in the world, as far as I'm aware, not a launch coaster. And it just, it's close to 7,000 feet long. I think the stat is 6,600, if I'm not mistaken. It just goes forever. And the pacing holds up. It's relentless. It combines laterals, airtime. There are other coasters that are noteworthy. Thunder Striker, which was called Intimidator, is the B&M hyper coaster in the park, which is a good ride. It would be a great ride if Fury 325 didn't exist in the same park, but I feel like it gets overlooked. And then recently, Copperhead Strike, which is a Mock Rides double launch coaster, LSM, which in a lot of ways I kind of link with Icon at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. They're very similar length and general scope and experience. So if you like one, you will like the other. For me, it's a good ride. I think the park was going for that Western look, so it kind of has that feel, the vibe of Maverick, but at Cedar Point. But it doesn't, for me, it doesn't quite match up to Maverick's intensity and just raw power. But it's still a great ride. And then the other noteworthy coaster is Afterburn, which is an older, I think 1999 it opened, B&M inverted coaster. That's the sister ride to Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa. So if you like Montu, the sequence of elements on Afterburn is very similar. So you will definitely love this ride. Carowinds to me is a 1-day park. You could do 1.5 days if you get into town early the day prior and they're open late, but it's relatively easy if you're not doing the water park to get your fill in 1 day. And then you're at Charlotte Airport, and you can fly home. I mean, it's an American Airlines hub, which is co-shared to British Airways. So there's a lot of service to Heathrow.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that sounds like a lovely little adventure. We know that you're a bit of a foodie. Have you got any food recommendations for that part of the world?
Yeah, I mean, Pigeon Forge Gatlinburg is very touristy, so that's one you definitely want to jump on Yelp and try to find the local spots, because there's a lot of chain places, understandably, because that's what, those are the restaurants that can afford the rent, the real estate, and those type of locations. But Charlotte is really a food town. Atlanta is a food town, and they're both very international as well. So you can kind of like we were talking about Toronto in the last episode, or Chicago. You can really find anything you're looking for. And Charlotte is one of the fastest growing metro markets in America right now. It's booming everywhere. So barbecue is big in that area of the country.
Yeah.
As we'll discuss more when we get in the Midwest. So.
Nice. Okay, there's one little itinerary for you. Right, we're moving on. So this would now be a separate itinerary. We're not suggesting do that and then go on and do this. I mean, you can if you want, if you've got a lot of annual leave and a desire to be very tired.
I mean, if you won the lottery, you could do this all.
Yeah, exactly.
Who am I to judge?
Book a year off.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we're moving on, and this is another potential itinerary. So we're going to the central US. What we're finding here.
So this one, this is an open-ended thing. So you can fly to or from Chicago, and the other end of it, you would probably be looking at Kansas City or St. Louis. But the Chicago area is vast. It's an international city. You can definitely spend a day or two in the city and enjoy restaurants. It's famous for deep dish pizza, a lot of good food like Italian beef and Chicago hot dogs and those type of things. And then Six Flags Great America is the big park in Chicago, and a very well-rounded coaster collection. New this year is Wrath of Rakshasa, which is a new B&M dive coaster. That park also has Raging Bull, a B&M hyper coaster that's very highly regarded. Max Force, which is one of the most powerful launch coasters in the world. It's right up there with Stealth at Thorpe Park for fastest accelerating coaster in the world. It's air launch and very, very intense. There's a trio of actually 4 wooden coasters if you count the Little Dipper wooden coaster. You've got Goliath, which is an RMC topper track wood coaster. American Eagle is a classic racing coaster. When you think American wood coaster, you look at American Eagle with it's over 140-foot first drop and white painted structure with red track and blue handrails. It doesn't get more American in my mind. It's like a good American. A lot of my British enthusiast friends always say that good American wooden coaster like that. When you look at that, it gives you those vibes. And then Viper, which is a slightly modified clone of the Coney Island Cyclone. So it uses that same general layout, that kind of a triple out and back layout where the track weaves through its structure. And then the other real notable coaster there is the Whizzer, which is the last remaining Schwarzkopf speed racer still operating in North America. And that's that inline seating, kind of like a jumbo jet, or what was the ride, the Black Hole that used to be at Alton Towers. So it has
Yeah.
You
so
like
picture those
rides kind of thing.
Exactly. So that ride system, but the trains are 4 cars coupled together. So they're long trains, and just a seatbelt for a restraint. And it's that park's mine train. So it's just a great, fantastic. And then, so we're moving north from here. So we've got several parks to look at. And we start Little America, which I know I didn't put in your guys' list, but it's a small stop off. It's a family-owned park in Marshall, Wisconsin. It's about an hour and a half drive from Great America. And it is best known for its train ride, which when I tell you it's a 30-minute ride, I am not exaggerating. This thing must go for 4 or 5 miles. It leaves the park and just goes into another state. You're passing animal habitats. You might see a llama or a zebra, or it completely random. Wonderful. The park itself has a classic junior wooden coaster, identical design to the Little Dipper at Great America. And then there's a Chance Toboggan, which is that very oddball coaster that you ride vertical up a tube and then spiral down. Some funfair operators have those. And then there's an old Mad Mouse there. So this is worthy of a 1 to 2 hour stop off just to see if you could time it out with their limited opening hours. From here, we move north to Wisconsin Dells, which is another Pigeon Forge, because America loves tourist trap towns. And I love it as well. So Wisconsin Dells at one time had dozens of operators on the strip. It was more like Pigeon Forge, where there was a lot of small standalone attractions. It has since consolidated. So you have Noah's Ark, which is a large scale open outdoor water park that is now owned and operated by Hirsch and Family Entertainment after they acquired Palace Entertainment. You have Mount Olympus, which is the operation best known to coaster enthusiasts because they've got 4 wooden coasters, which is, something to take note of. Most prominent there is the Gravity Group's very first ground up ride, Hades 360, which has the world's longest underground tunnel. Don't quote me on that, but I can't think of another one that's longer. It's got to be,
Someone find a tunnel nerd quickly.
Yeah, American tunnel enthusiasts. 8. They're going to start a new club. No, it cuts under the parking lot, and then the turnaround is out on an island in the parking lot. So the coaster, you're watching it operate, it drops, disappears like Oblivion, and then maybe 18, 20 seconds later reappears, goes through a corkscrew around the turnaround, drops back under the parking lot, disappears. 20 seconds later, it reappears back in the park and finishes the course. Completely wild, unique. Have to experience it.
Just hope it doesn't stall, don't you?
Yeah, that's a good point. You don't want to be in the tunnel. What's in the shed, what's in the tunnel, we say. But anyway, it's a very unique operation. I will say that it's part water park, part FEC. I hesitate to call it an amusement park because I think they only have one flat ride to go along with the 4 Woodies and the junior coasters. So it's interesting, and it's really developed more as a resort. So the owner has, instead of being an amusement park with resort accommodations, considers the amusement and water park amenities to people staying instead. So they put more investment into the resort properties, which I think is smart, because Wisconsin Dells is known as the water park capital of the world. There's more water slides in Wisconsin Dells than any other town in America, at least. And it's also where Great Wolf Lodge got its start. And there's also Kalahari Resort there as well, and the Wilderness Resort. So there's a lot of these all-encompassing, you pay for your room, you get that resort's amenities or attractions. So most people go and they just stay where they stay, and they use those amenities. Whereas back when I started going there in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was, you would go up and down the strip and there'd be, 24 different operators. There'd be a go-kart track here. There'd be a slingshot here. There'd be a drop ride here, so it's different now, but I would certainly say the Dells is worth stopping for a day at least and riding the coasters at Mount Olympus, because they are something. You've got also Cyclops, Zeus, and Pegasus are the other 3 wooden coasters, and they're all CCI rides. So you have the 1 Gravity Group and the 3 CCIs. Perfect day. You can actually do it all in one day. A Little America and the Dells. From here, you've got a couple options. I'll just put in a side. It's a little bit out of the way, but I think worth it is Bay Beach, which is up in, Kev, what's on your cap?
Good old Green Bay.
You got it. Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's a municipally owned and operated amusement park, which is rare in this country. And it is home to Zip and Pippin. So if you're going for arguably the best wooden coaster in Wisconsin, Wisconsin's got a lot of wood coasters. If you think Little America, the Dells, and here for a state that's not the largest in terms of population, Zip and Pippin is an airtime machine. So if you like re-rideability and just straightforward camelback hills that pop you out of your seat, this is the ride for you. And it's maybe the most affordable theme park in America. I think a ride on Zip and Pippin is $1 or something like that. You can look it up. And it's open gate, free parking. It's owned by the city, so it's kind of a quasi not-for-profit. They do invest in it. They do add rides, and it's a great setting right on the water. But it is a little bit of a detour because we're going towards Minneapolis, so you're going that way, and then you have to backtrack over about 3.5 hours. But I would say it is worth it for a couple hours there.
Definitely. And if you want to visit the greatest stadium in NFL football, go visit Lambeau Field.
You can take a tour of the stadium too and tie that in with Bay Beach.
You don't have to sell it to me.
It's interesting about Green Bay. It's by far the smallest market in the NFL with a team. The stadium can hold almost double what the population of the city is. So you can imagine.
It's literally crazy.
Yeah, it's bonkers. So, I mean, finding a hotel on a game weekend, you might be staying an hour outside of town. It's unless you find someone that's willing to Airbnb their house or something. So it's very, very interesting. And it's on my list. I would love to go to a game there. So let me know when you're coming over. We'll go together.
If Baltimore and Green Bay are playing, we'll arrange it.
Oh, that
we'll
would be
arrange a
perfect.
trip.
That would be perfect. Absolutely. So,
I'm literally sat here not having a clue what either of you are talking about. I'm
American
just
football.
smiling and nodding.
yeah.
Well,
It's
I'll
what
explain
Ted
to you later.
Lasso,
Don't worry.
yeah, it's the sport Ted Lasso did know how to coach before he moved to the UK.
Okay,
Yeah,
I know
so
who Ted Lasso is.
There you go.
Season 3 is filming right now. Not to go
I
on a
know,
tangent.
I saw that. Who predicted that?
They're in Kansas City right now. So
Are they?
fantastic.
Good old Ted, back on it.
Okay, so back on
right.
track. We're driving west now. We're going to go to the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is home to, I'm not sure if it's still the largest, but one of the largest malls in the world, the Mall of America, which is home to Nickelodeon Universe, not to be confused with the other Nickelodeon Universe in New Jersey. This is the first one that started out life as Camp Snoopy. So I'll give you this quick side note thing, nerd thing, because we're all nerds here. So Charles Schultz, who is the creator of Peanuts, is from St. Paul, Minnesota. So that is why this park, well, I'll go back one more. The Knott family, as in Knott's Berry Farm, they had their park in California, and they opened Camp Snoopy in 1983. It was one of the very first IP-based children's lands in a theme park. So they then won the contract to operate the park at Mall of America. So they wanted to bring Peanuts there. And because Charles Schultz was there, it worked out. So originally, when the park first opened, it was called Camp Snoopy. And a lot of the ride mix was similar to what you would find at Knott's Berry Farm. So there are still some rides left, like the log chute is still very similar, with this large scale animatronics on the inside and the length of the ride. The Zier Tivoli coaster is very similar to Jaguar at Knott's Berry Farm. It kind of gives that long tour of the park. But then you've also got some newer rides since it was rebranded in Nick. You have SpongeBob SquarePants Rock Bottom Plunge, which is a custom Gerstlauer Eurofighter, which for one of the earlier ones still rides very well. Just, it runs 363 days a year. Wow. It's smooth. It's got a very compact, very cool layout, great flat ride mix, and the mall is great. And on top of that, there's no sales tax in Minnesota on clothing. So not to say if you're going back to the UK, you may have to, report your purchases and pay the duties. But either way, for Americans, it's we're going up there actually over Labor Day weekend, and we'll do our back to school shopping there and probably save hundreds, I would think, in sales tax.
That pays for the trip, doesn't it?
There you go.
There you go. Be my enabler back.
Go math.
And then just 10 miles to the west of Mall of America is the town of Shakopee. Say that fast 5 times. Valley Fair.
Shakopee.
No.
You got it. You win a prize.
Yay.
So Valley Fair is always to be linked with Cedar Point. The name Cedar Fair, the company, because Valley Fair was the second park that the Cedar Point corporate group bought, and then they created Cedar Fair out of Cedar Point and Valley Fair. So the park, to me, this is one of the most underrated regional parks in America. And I don't say this lightly because I've been to a lot of places. Immaculate landscaping. It's maybe the cleanest park you will ever visit. The rides are kept up despite the harsh winters. Everything is freshly painted. The hanging flowers. It's a I don't know the word delight, but it is a delightful place to be. Great music. They know how to pump the energy into the park, despite not getting large scale rides. Their most thrilling coaster is probably Steel Venom, which is the Intimate Impulse, which is the only one left that still uses that hold brake on the reverse spike, which is super thrilling. Yeah. They're also home to Renegade, which is a fantastic GCI wooden coaster. And my favorite roller coaster there, which is not a popular opinion, is a ride called Excalibur. And it is as if Magnum XL 200 and Gemini had a baby. It is for sure janky. Yeah, I think janky may not be taken as a positive descriptive word, but it is janky in a very good way. It's thrilling, it's fun, and it makes me laugh. And that is what amusement rides should do. It should make you smile. And I get right back in line and ride it over and over again. Yeah. It's unique, it's custom, it's funky. They have a small water park there. They have Wild Thing, which was the first of the Morgan hyper coasters. They did 3 in a row for Cedar Fair back in the mid to late 90s, which is a fun ride. but Excalibur is still my favorite because it's a guilty pleasure. But
Hmm.
don't sleep on Valleyfair. It's not a park that has an RMC. It's not a park that has the most thrilling rides. But you could certainly blend these two parks in one day and have a great time. And Mall of America gives you some weather insurance, because if the weather's looking dicey in the afternoon, you start at Valleyfair and then go to the mall, or vice versa. You have that flexibility. From here, we drive about 3 hours. Well, yeah, 3 hours south. Arnold's Park, Iowa. This is an area most people from outside of US, or most people in general, have never heard of. It's a lake region in northwest Iowa that has a very small, very charming traditional amusement park that's very old. And it has a 1920s wooden coaster originally designed by John Miller, recently refurbished in a multi-phased effort from Great Coasters International. And it runs like a dream. Great flat rides, small Mad Mouse, certainly worthy of a 2 to 3 hour stop off. And we head southwest from there to Adventureland in Des Moines, Iowa, which is another great regional park. Des Moines is not the largest city. It's the largest city in Iowa, but I don't even know if it's a market of 500,000 people, but it's a cool city. It's a college town, and Adventureland has an entrance that'll be very familiar to a lot of people. It looks just like Disneyland. It has the berm with the railroad track, and you walk under one of the tunnels and you come into town square. Instead of the gazebo, or where the characters meet, there's a carousel, and then you walk down Main Street. You've got a great mix of rides and attractions. The Monster, which is a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster, one of the best coasters Gerstlauer has ever done. It is infinitely smooth for an infinity coaster. See how I did that? It's got thrilling inversions, re-rideable, and it's kind of like the best of a lot of Gerstlauer coasters. It has some of the elements off of Junker at Power Park in Finland, including the Finnish loop, which is that elongated loop with the hang time. And it's just an amazing ride. Great pacing, great everything. Another very unique ride is called the Underground, which is a unique gravity-propelled wooden dark ride. So you ride in what looks like a wood coaster system. It has multiple lift hills on it and dark ride scenes with strategically placed braking, so the train slows down so that you could see the scenes and keep going on your way. So it's like like a mine shaft, essentially, that you're going down. Mix in a lot of cool flat rides. There's a log ride there that's really good. Very popular water park. And another park that you could easily spend a day in. About 2 hours to the north and east is a park called Lost Island in the town of Waterloo, Iowa. So the owners of this park had Lost Island Water Park across the street, which has been very successful for a long time. And so based on that, they, if I'm getting the story correctly, they sold their main family business, and using those funds created this new theme park, which is very heavy on theme. It's still getting its footing with visitation and attendance, but I think they're going to get there. Word just has to get out on how great this place is. The dark ride it's a Sally dark ride, a trackless ride system, is just amazing. Great pre-show, great scenes. The interactivity is fantastic. They have 3 large scale coasters in the park. 2 of them were relocated. The Vekoma SLC came from Ratanga Junction in South Africa, and it's one of those models with the helix at the end, kind of like the one at Gardaland in Italy, if you guys have ever been there. And then this is also the home of the former Intamin accelerator coaster from Liseberg, when Liseberg put in helix, rendering that ride useless in their mix, essentially. And that's where the B&M dive coaster went. The Lost Island folks jumped on it and moved it to America, and now it's a perfect ride for this park because it's one of those, the rides are not cheap. Getting it used was great, and it runs really well. And they put the soft padded restraints on it when they made the move too, so it's super re-rideable. And then just this past week, they opened an RMC single rail, another one. It's a clone of a Stunt Pilot from Silverwood in Idaho. So it's a slightly modified version of the first 2 that opened at California's Great America and Six Flags Fiesta Texas. It's a little bit more comfortable. I think the elements are a little bit more spread out, and it's not as abrupt. It still has crazy airtime and laterals based on what I could see, but I think it's a great fit for them. So
RMC have been busy with their single rails this year, haven't they?
There's quite a few.
Yeah. The Wallaby ride has gotten, surprisingly, a lot of people prefer the non-thrilling side over the thrilling side, which I find interesting. but
I
who
haven't
knows?
ridden it, but yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah.
But yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. So real quick, we'll move down. We're going down to Missouri, which is a state below Iowa. And we've got Six Flags St. Louis, which is the third of the original three Six Flags parks. We already talked about Six Flags Over Georgia. So Six Flags St. Louis is home to three huge wooden coasters. You have the Screaming Eagle from my birth year in 1976, which was the tallest, fastest, longest coaster in the world when it opened. You've got the Boss, which is a huge CCI ride that opened in Y2K. And then you have American Thunder, which is a GCI wooden coaster. Very interestingly, an exact clone of their coaster at Power Park in Finland. So if you look at the two, you could see they're exact clones of one another. And I was trying to think of the last time maybe the Plopsa ride from White Lightning at Fun Spot when a wood coaster gets cloned. It's very unusual because usually people want a custom wood coaster, but that happened to fit this plot and it worked. Other than that, it's a very underrated park, beautiful hillside location in the forest. Lots of good flat rides. One of those DC Comics dark rides that most of the Six Flags legacy parks have. So definitely worth at least a half, if not a full day. You have a Batman the ride. You have a Mr. Freeze, one of the premier rides. Limb launch coaster, shuttle coaster. And then from here, we go down to Branson, Missouri. Yet another American tourist trap town. Spotting a trend here. This is a very, very quirky place. It's in the Ozark Mountains. So instead of the Smoky Mountains, we're in the Ozark Mountains. And you have the same type of strip with attractions that Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg have. And at the end of the strip is what I consider to be, the more I think about it, and it's between this and Disneyland, my favorite theme park in the world, Silver Dollar City.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't play favorites here. I could be diplomatic and say, but Silver Dollar City is special. A lot of times challenges, like we've talked about Nemesis, why is that ride so special? Because of the limitations that were put on its design. It's easy to have a wide open field and here go and limitless money and go master plan a park. Silver Dollar City came because people were waiting hours and hours for their cave tour. The Marvel Cave sits right underneath the park. So they started building out the city, giving people a general store and an ice cream parlor and places to go and wait and spend money, obviously. And then over time, rides were added and theaters were added. And the park grew organically. It's not a master planned park. When you go there, there's multiple ways you can kind of weave your way through the property. And every time you go a different way, the sense of discovery at Silver Dollar City is like no other park I've been to. It truly feels like, as the guest, you're designing your day versus a master planner designing your day. So you're going down Hill Street and you start smelling the food, and the food is absolutely spectacular. They have these giant skillets or cast iron skillets that get coated with, lard in the morning to get them going. And then they throw in smoked sausage and vegetables and corn and chicken and, just the smells. It truly is. You are in a city, and all of the team members are called citizens, and you are a guest. And no other park in America carries out a consistent theme like Silver Dollar City does through the entire property. There are not really lands. There are subdivisions, but they're all tied to the story that you were in the 1880s visiting the city. And as part of your day, you could take a cave. You can go hundreds of feet underground into a room that could store the Statue of Liberty. It's that large, and take about 45 to 60 minutes out of your day. Totally recommend it, by the way. You walk down and you ride a funicular back up.
I don't do caves.
It's spectacular. And I haven't talked about rides yet. All I've told you about.
Well, I was going to say, there's a lot of coasters that I've admired and looked at.
We have Time Traveler.
Time Traveler.
The first Mack Rides extreme spinning coaster.
Like the Ride to Happiness, this isn't it?
It's the same ride system as the Ride to Happiness. Most people have told me it's not as intense as that ride, but maybe for Silver Dollar City, it doesn't matter. Everything at Silver Dollar City is terrain driven because the park is built up on a plateau, and then as you go off the side, the ground drops off. So you cannot see these giant coasters until you're waiting in the queue because they all drop off the side of the mountain. It's spectacular. I can't say enough good things. The team there is amazing. Other coasters, you've got Outlaw Run, which was the original ground up RMC topper track wooden coaster. It's just bonkers, from lift to brakes. It's 45 seconds of nonstop intensity, finishing with that double barrel roll. Guilty Pleasure Ride, Powder Keg. It's a very unique S&S air launch family. I call it family because it has more airtime than most other coasters combined. You dispatch from the station, you park, and the entire track slides diagonally uphill while counterweights underneath slide against that. And then you line up with the launch track, you roll out, and off you go. Airtime hills, spectacular views. Wildfire, custom looping coaster from B&M, is almost lost in the mix at this park. It would be a marquee ride anywhere else. Just spectacular. The new Fire in the Hole that opened last year using the ride system from RMC totally captures all the spirit of the original with a modern, updated ride system, guaranteeing it's going to be there for many decades to come. 2 to 3 days minimum. And I would advise buying a multi-day ticket that gives you flexibility to come and go, so you can leave and do some of the other attractions. It's magical on a level of Disneyland, but it feels less fabricated magic. It feels more real magic.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Do they have on-site hotels there as well, or do you have to stay off-site?
They're building a resort right now that I believe is supposed to open either late next year or sometime in 2027 that will be similar in scope to the Dreamore Resort of Dollywood.
Okay.
So that was definitely on their list. I believe they have a campground as well, but Branson has a lot of lodging options. So you'll find your place. But do you guys have any parks that you would consider, like in the UK or Europe, that are just naturally magical that you can think of that, when you go there, you want to spend 3 days and just soak it in?
Only Europa Park for me, I think, for like a 3-day. I mean, I could do, a week in Europa Park, but that you can tell it was just a flat bit of land. There's no natural like ups and downs in it, but they've done an amazing job of making it feel very special. But there's nowhere that it should be Alton Towers, right? That should be the part with this natural setting that
you think with the gardens as well. Well, they're not natural gardens, but obviously the natural landscaping and everything around it, you would have to say there's not really another theme park like that in the UK, is there?
But it's just not the experience. If you could get the experience of a Europa Park in the setting of Alton Towers, maybe you'd get a Silver Dollar City.
Yeah, I could see that. And it's a shame, really, when you think about it, because I mean, every park operator has the right intent, right? Like they want to deliver that repeatable experience. But it's challenging. A lot of operators have to do the best with the tools they're given, and that's what it comes down to. So,
how is it that they are just so far ahead of other parks for you?
Well, for one thing, I think Hirsch and Family Entertainment is a privately owned company. So I guess maybe they have less people they have to answer to with regard to and stuff like that. But this park dates from 1960, I think. So it's heritage. It's been there so long. And, people just know it. It's part of the fabric of that area of the country. And because of its consistent, experience, they draw people from as far away as Dallas, Texas, and Chicago, Illinois, which I know we're talking about Chicago on this trip, but that's far. You're talking a 10-hour drive. That's like driving Scotland down to London. So it's one of those. But it always goes, for me, it's sort of like what makes a good restaurant. It's quality product and consistency.
Yeah.
Quality product, quality service, consistency. Every time you go, you're reliably going to get that consistency. That's what makes it. When you go to a park and are they going to run one train? Are they going to have half the food stalls closed? You don't know. That's a problem.
Yeah.
So.
No, fully agree. And I think this is what we've been struggling with in the UK this year. And I also, how much are the tickets sort of compared to other parks? Because we've sort of had the discussion that would you pay more for your park if you knew you were going to get a decent experience? Because obviously with Universal coming, this is the thing on everyone's lips. And I would I would rather pay double the ticket price knowing I'm going to get a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt that parks like Dollywood and Silver Dollar don't discount like some of the larger corporate parks do historically.
Same again.
That's good.
And the other thing with Silver Dollar City is parking is free. They don't even charge for parking. They have close-in parking you can pay for, but that's your choice. So you could park for free and take a tram to the front entrance.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's, when you're tied in and you get your audience, it's really special because it feels like a bond between your operation and your audience, and that resonates. And I think that results in success, and success for the operation, which by the way means financial success, not just,
absolutely.
hey, we're operating safely, which is number one, but delivering a quality experience and a memorable experience. And Hershon, their motto is making experiences worth repeating, making memories worth repeating. And I truly do believe that both Silver Dollar City and Dollywood do that. And their attendance reflects that.
It's interesting because what you're saying is a lot of what Lawrence was saying from Paulton's, and again, same thing, family-owned parking. He's like, we don't charge for parking. You'll never pay for parking here. We don't discount our tickets because we feel that the price is fair for the experience you're going to get. And what you get at the end of it is a really well-run, operationally efficient, well-looked-after park, which you don't need fast tracks for. Yeah, and that you get a consistent experience. I never go to theme parks during school trip season. I refuse to go, but I went to Portland's during school trip season, and it made zero difference to my day. And it kind of gives me hope that maybe, obviously Portland's it's been around for a long time, but it's been developing rapidly in the last 10 years or so. Maybe in 20, 30 years time, they'll be on the level of Silver Dollar City. That's where they'll get to. And it's
never know.
Yeah.
They can have resorts there. They can build an indoor water park, which I'm shocked there are not more of those in the UK.
Yeah, we all are.
I mean, you have those, what are those holiday resorts?
Center parks.
Butland or something like that?
No, not Butlins.
Well, there's one near you, Bex. Up in,
I know, in Skeggy. Yeah. I'm more a Center Parks girl myself, to be honest. But yeah, it's the same sort of thing. They've got indoor, water. Yeah, you can call them a water park, I guess. They've got swimming pools and flames. They haven't got loads and loads of flames, but yeah. Okay.
So we got one more park. We're going up to Kansas City, which is the barbecue capital of the world, because it's the one culinary thing that America has brought to the world. Everything else really has and modified.
And we are grateful for that.
So Kansas City is a very underrated town. Lots of great culture, museums. It's a big sports town too. They've got the Chiefs. They have the Royals, a lot of colleges, and lots of barbecue joints. Lots of great places to go. Kansas City's theme park, Worlds of Fun, which opened in 1973 and was originally themed around Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days. So that's why its iconic logo is that balloon, which they have at the entrance that would take you on that journey. It's a solid regional park. People that visit the park, I think if their expectations are it's Cedar Point, they're not going to be met. But if you go in there, take off your inspector cap and have fun. Gorgeous landscaping, great background music, great overall design, and amazing entertainment. For a long while, Cedar Fair, when it was Cedar Fair, not Six Flags, a lot of their entertainment production, full-time people were based out of Worlds of Fun. So they take their stage shows very seriously here, and it shows. Coaster-wise, it's not a spectacular long list of rides, but you have a lot of solid rides. You've got Prowler, which inspired Mystic Timbers at Kings Island, a very similar layout and out and back, which is unusual for a GCI. You have Zambezi Zinger, which is a very interesting ride that attempts to bring back the spirit of the old Schwarzkopf Speed Racer. This is the Speed Racer that moved to Columbia that still operates today down there. It has a spiral lift hill it's a wheel driven lift hill, and they enclosed it this year because it apparently was having issues operating in the rain, with not making it up. So now it has a roof on the lift hill, and it's been able to operate more regularly, which has been great.
Yeah, a lot about that.
Yeah, it's a quirky ride. It's got a good first drop, and then most of it is low to the ground with very rapid changes in direction. So if you like laterals, this is your ride. It's got a tunnel, very fast pace. I think they were going for family ride with it, but I think they got more than they bargained for. It's very much a thrill ride. Intensity wise, I honestly think it's on the same level as Prowler. So you have two GCI rides almost right next to one another, which is unusual. But they're both popular, so I would guess to say that it was, it's a good pick for the park, and the guests love it. I think the star of the park is Mamba, which of the Morgan hyper coasters that I've been on is probably my favorite one. I would put it there with Steel Eel at SeaWorld San Antonio that we'll talk about in the next episode that we go over road trips in America. Mamba had its mid-course trim brakes either opened entirely or really loosened about a year or two ago, and the finale is bonkers now. It's just almost stand-up airtime, speed to the finish, and it's a great ride. It's a 200-footer. It's got a tall second hill. It's got a great helix that is up on the hill, very prominent, dives to the ground, some great head choppers, and it's super re-rideable and very smooth. They have another wooden coaster called Timberwolf. That's an old Charles Dinn ride from the 80s, late 80s. They didn't open it this year, and I'm not sure what is going on with it. There's a lot of speculation going around, but I don't really care to talk about speculation. I'd rather find out facts and discuss it then. They also have Patriot, which is a custom B&M inverted coaster, which is, for me, it's middle of the road, but that doesn't mean it's a bad ride. It's super smooth, super re-rideable, 4 inversions. For a regional park that's 4 hours from the nearest other park, it's perfect for this market. Some great flat rides. They've got a great rapids ride. They've got an old log flume, which is great, called Viking Voyager, that the boats look like longboats, Viking longboats, which is a cool, distinctive theme. Gorgeous carousel that came from Geauga Lake near Cleveland, Ohio, an old MC Ilian's carousel with a band organ. And yeah, I mean, it's a solid regional park. That's what I'll say. I mean, you won't regret visiting. It's, you could easily do the park in a half to 2/3 of a day. You can also spend a whole day there and have a great time.
Does it still have its classic Vekoma boomerang?
Yes. Yeah. It's that,
of course.
Yes, and I think it's called Boomerang. So
I think
they will never die. Those coasters.
It's one of the first coasters. You go on. And it was one of the classics in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it's a good. It's a solid park. And then from there you have Kansas City International Airport. It's not a real international hub, so it'll probably feed you back through Chicago or another airport on the way back. This is a pretty ambitious trip that you can divide up. If you're doing all of this, you're probably looking at 2 weeks, to be honest. But if you wanted to do pieces of it, you could do the Missouri portion in 7 days, 8 days, and getting your 2 to 3 days at Silver Dollar City and a day each at Worlds of Fun and Six Flags St. Louis is a solid trip. A lot of wooden coasters, a lot of good options there. So, and barbecue.
But definitely 2 to 3 days at Silver Dollar City. Do not only spend 1 day there.
And do not miss the cave tour.
I'm not going in a cave.
All right. I'm just going to say that so many people I know go there the first time and they don't do the cave tour because they don't want to lose precious park time. I said the cave is part of the park. You have to do it. It's what makes it unique. Knott's Berry Farm would not exist if not for the chicken dinner restaurant. Silver Dollar City would not exist if not for the cave. You owe it to yourself to do the cave.
It's not that I don't want to miss park time. I just don't want to lose my life in a cave. Like
just wandering off in the dark.
Right. No.
I've watched too many TikToks about people in caves where it all goes horribly wrong. Okay. I have fallen down that rabbit hole. And yeah, look, I'm not good in confined spaces.
Okay.
I know you've said it's as big as the Eiffel Tower, but
you do that really cool thing where they turn all the lights off and make it really dark.
They do it for a very short period, but you compared to the average person doing this tour, you are an Olympic athlete. Okay, so just go with the flow.
That's the first time that's ever been said to me in any respect. Okay, no, I'm still not. Honestly, I can't think of anything worse than going in a cave. It's not being able to see daylight. I don't like it.
How about a tilt coaster? Cave or tilt coaster?
Oh, no, that tilt coasters. Yeah, well, we'll see how that pans out later this year.
Looking forward to getting on to Siren's Curse.
Well, there's a big one going up at Six Flags Kadir City, which Neil Dwyer has promised he's going to sit next to me on. I'm still not sure if
it's one of my unpopular opinions, I'd say. What is the point of a tilt coaster? But we'll We'll come back to that another time.
A whole episode. We could just do a whole episode of what is the point of and various theme parks.
Yeah, I'll be writing it in Top Thrill the first week of August for the first time.
Oh, so, at last. You're finally getting on those two. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. I hope it doesn't break down in the tilt position as it did not so long ago.
I'll be fine.
45 minutes, I think. It's just like,
I'll be on TV. I'll be on the news.
You will, yeah.
Silver lining. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, that's the end of another episode of our USA road trips. We have still got a couple of locations left to go to. One very important one on the West Coast, which I'm sure you can work out what it is, but there is a lot going on there for theme park fans. We will have to come back to those in another episode. If you have enjoyed today, please give us a rating. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're planning on going on any of these road trips as well. I'd love to know. I mean, every time I speak to you, I think I have the one that I want to do most. And then I speak to you and I'm like, oh yeah, but I really want to do that. So it does make life difficult. But yeah, let us know what you think, and if you haven't already subscribed, do subscribe so you don't miss another episode. We will be back next week. For now though, we've been Parkcast,
the UK's original theme park podcast.